Hello, my name's Gamiel Yafai and I am a British Yemeni. Today I'm going to talk to you about what the Yemen means to me and historically to the UK, how Yemenis, particularly those in the UK, and the youngsters have been blighted since 9/11, and how you and I can do something about it. For those of you that aren't aware, the Yemen sits at the tip of the Arabian Peninsula and was once the richest of the Arab countries. It's one of the first civilizations, and its capital, Sana'a, is known as the oldest city in the world. Yemen has a huge history, and it's said that it's the birthplace of the Queen of Sheba, and the Romans actually named the Yemen as Happy Arabia because of the hospitality that they were greeted with when they went into the Yemen. It was known for frankincense and myrrh and spices, and the travel of Islam actually came through the ports of the Yemen and out to the wider world. Because the Yemen today looks very similar to what it did 2,000 years ago, it's actually said that if the Prophet Muhammad was to come back, he would actually feel safe and comfortable in the Yemen because it wouldn't have changed. Unfortunately, today, and those of you that have TVs, which I'm assuming is all of you, you'll know that the Yemen's recognized for something totally different. There's political unrest, economic meltdown, poverty, and, sadly, a residence for Al-Qaeda. Because of the Yemen's strategic positioning, it's been ruled by more countries than I can actually count until 1839, when the Royal Marines actually landed in the Yemen to fight off pirates. Does that sound familiar? And then when the Suez Canal opened in 1869, the Yemen, and again because of its strategic positioning, was actually a port, and traffic or sort of ships between the Med and the Far East actually stopped there to fuel, or as it was then, to collect all of their coal. So there's lots more transportation, and lots of people started to migrate from the Yemen. In around about 1860, we saw the first of the Yemenis to actually arrive in the UK. They landed in South Shields, and over time they moved through to the industrial cities such as Sheffield, Manchester, Liverpool, Birmingham, Cardiff, and have lived, you could say, peaceably for over 150 years. They've literally coexisted within those communities, an almost invisible community, because they got on with their neighbours. They didn't integrate, they literally coexisted. And they were seen as happy, jolly people. That was until that dreaded day on the 11th of September, when the world changed for all of us. Why my interest in the Yemen? Well, apart from my father, who came from the north of Yemen, and my mother's grandfather, who came from the south of Yemen, I spent a fair deal of time sort of in the Yemen when I was 12. I was sent for a holiday to learn the culture, to meet family, including my grandmother, who I'd never actually seen, you know, to learn about Islam. And it was the biggest adventure of my life. I won't actually tell you why I was sent to Yemen, but I enjoyed my experience over there. I was treated by everybody with not just dignity and respect. You know, I could walk into any house and they would give me, you know, food and water, even though they were really poor. And they wouldn't think twice about it. And that wasn't just me. Anybody could do it. It really did open my eyes to humanity. And I can honestly say today that it has majorly contributed to who I am as an individual. Sadly, like a lot of Yemenis that want to pursue a career, I ended up leaving the Yemeni community in probably '85 and didn't really pay much attention to it until I bumped into a cousin of mine, a chap called Abdulalem, who runs the Yemeni Voice. And he gave me an insight into what it was like in the Yemeni community now and what was happening to some of those youngsters. So we decided to find a way of helping, and we thought one of the best ways of helping was to put together a little handbook that re-educated those youths and showed them, or re-engaged them with the rich history of the Yemen, something to feel proud about. Before we did that, we went out and did a piece of research, only a small piece, to find out how those youngsters felt and to get some idea of their challenges. Some of the information that came back was that the Yemeni community in the UK and those youngsters were seen differently now. Since 9/11, they were no longer those happy, jolly neighbours. They'd suddenly turned into Muslims, potential terrorists. On the TV, whenever the Yemen's mentioned, it is always negative. Even though it's a fantastic place, it's always been negative. So all of those youngsters have been tarred with that negativity. They have Al-Qaeda representatives trying to tap them up in mosques, on the streets, in communities. And I was told that a member of Al-Qaeda literally stood up in the mosques and asked people what they were doing there. Why were they not outside fighting this Western regime? That's the sort of things that happened. And on the other side, they experienced the EDL and other far-right organizations taunting them. So they didn't know where to turn. And then you had levels of prejudice, discrimination, and of course, Islamophobia that became buoyant. That on top of some of the other issues that exist within the Yemeni community, that of low levels of education, unemployment, partially because a lot of their parents and grandparents came over from farms from the Yemen with very low levels of education. So they lacked role models, mentors, champions. Just didn't exist in the community. The research, when we asked the question, who are your role models? They couldn't identify a person in their own communities, which is really sad. So, what are we going to do about it? I want to reach out to all of those other Yemeni professionals who have left their communities and who have so much knowledge that they can share. I want those people to become mentors, champions, role models, and anybody else that wants to get involved. I want to run, and I will run, a number of seminars in different cities around the UK with hopefully some of those mentors, champions, and role models to actually talk to the youth and start inspiring those youths and showing them that they can achieve. And thirdly, I'd like to put together a LinkedIn network to share ideas and to share experiences. This is one of the statements that came out of the research. We have always been a quiet community, only now we are seen as a potential threat, but still no one is listening. My summary is, young Yemenis in the UK are suffering. I want the Yemeni community to know that somebody is listening. And I want you to step forward, make contact, and be part of the solution. Thank you for listening.